Good morning. Today is Melanoma Monday, as May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. Now, today we want to talk to you a little bit about what is melanoma. Now, melanoma is a form of skin cancer. We've got several different kinds of skin cancer. There's basal cell, squamous, and then melanoma. Now, melanoma is the one that's most likely to metastasize or to go to other areas. These areas can be the lymph, the lungs, the liver, the bones, even the abdomen or the brain. So when it spreads or metastasizes to these areas, that's when the prognosis becomes very poor. Now, there are a lot of causes of melanoma. One is a genetic mutation that causes subtle changes within the skin to mutate to melanoma. Now, this genetic gene is the CDKN2A gene. Now, if you have this gene, you're going to be more likely to have any kind of sun exposure transform on over to that melanoma. If you've got a first-degree relative, like a sister or a brother or a father or a mother that has melanoma, you have a 50% more likely increase to develop melanoma over your lifetime. So making sure that you plan is a good thing. Another thing that can cause melanoma is sun exposure.
Yes, so the sun, there are three different types of UV rays that can penetrate. We have the UVA, UVB, and UVC. Now, UVA rays cause aging, and then the UVB rays, those are most likely to cause melanoma.
Yeah, and UVC, we don't typically worry a whole lot about UVC because it's usually blocked by the ozone anyway, so we don't even have to worry about that. So, we do need some sunlight on our skin. Vitamin D is what we are synthesizing from the sun. And Katie was telling me some interesting facts about vitamin D.
Yeah, vitamin D is actually not a vitamin. It's actually a hormone. And when your vitamin D levels are low, you actually can't take in the sufficient amount of calcium or phosphorus that your body needs to stay healthy. And it doesn't matter how much calcium you're taking in from your diet, whether you're eating really healthy foods with calcium or if you're having a calcium supplement. If your vitamin D levels are low, you're not going to be able to absorb the calcium necessary to stay healthy. We want to tell you to plan your sun exposure because while it is really important that you do get that sun exposure for the vitamin D synthesis, too much sun exposure can increase your chances of the skin cancer, of course. Now, we are going to tell you that you're going to want to avoid that exposure between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Those are when the rays are the strongest and can cause those skin concerns. Now, if you go out in the morning and you're wanting to get that vitamin D synthesis from the sun, you're not going to want to wear sunscreen. And the reason why is because the wavelengths that sunscreen blocks are also the wavelengths that create that vitamin D in your body. So if that's the reason why you're exposing yourself to the sun, you just want to be careful about that. Now, if you're going to be out in the sun all day, definitely wear sunscreen.
Lather it on.
Yes. Now it can cause skin damage, which can cause wrinkles. So I'm always going to tell you to put sunscreen on your face no matter what. If you're wanting to synthesize that vitamin D, you can expose other areas of your skin, no problem. Just be very smart about it and how you're planning it.
One thing that Kate was telling me about, though, was that when we are out in the sun, it doesn't matter the amount of time that you're out in the sun. If you're out in the sun for 5 minutes, you're going to absorb just as much vitamin D as if you're out in the sun for an hour and a half. So, if you're just out there for a few minutes, get that sun exposure, make sure it's within the right time frames, like Kate was saying, then you're going to get that same amount of vitamin D as if you laid out there and fried all day.
Right.
So, make sure that you're using that same, be very cognizant of how long you're out there so that we're not causing accelerated aging or possibly even leading to some kind of skin damage or skin cancer. Now, tell us a little bit about sunscreens.
So we have a couple of different sunscreens that we use here at Empowering Health. These are from the brand Illumi AMD. Now we have Clear Shield and we have Sheer Hydration. One of them is an oil-free sunscreen and the other one is a moisturizing sunscreen. So it kind of just depends on your skincare routine. If you have a moisturizer that you really like to use, then I would suggest using the oil-free sunscreen. If you don't have a moisturizer and you want to use the SPF as a moisturizer, then you would go with the moisturizing sunscreen. But really, despite where you're getting your sunscreen, you definitely want to make sure that it has titanium dioxide and zinc oxide in it, because that's what's protecting you from those sun rays, and that's what creates that physical sunscreen.
So there are two types of sunscreen, correct? We
Yes.
have the kind that she was talking about with the titanium and the zinc. That is more of a physical sunscreen. So as those sun rays are coming down, it's going to be reflecting essentially, correct? And then what is our other type that we have?
The chemical sunscreen.
The chemical sunscreen. So we don't really like the chemical sunscreens that much, because with those, they're penetrating deep into the tissues of the body to cause a difference in the conversion of the UVB and the UVA rays. So it's kind of important that we're not putting extra toxins in our body, that we're keeping ourselves nice and healthy. So again, one of the big things that we want you to do is we want you to wear your sunscreen. Be smart about being out in the sun. And the other thing, take a look at those moles. Get in with somebody if you've got a mole that is changing. When we're talking about moles, we're looking for a few different things. They're called the ABCDEs. So we're looking for asymmetry. So it's no longer round, it's kind of oblong or looks different. The borders may be a little bit irregular. There might be color changes in it or color differences within the same mole itself. The other thing is the diameter. If it's bigger than a pencil eraser, you probably want to have somebody take a look at it. Or E, this is where it's evolving or changing. Now, melanoma can spread to several different areas, and these little moles can be found in different areas. They may be under the fingernails, on the soles of the feet. It may be in the genitalia, even along the vagina or the anus. So make sure that you are looking at your skin. If you find something concerning, get in with a doctor so that they can take a look at it. Now, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to give Kate or I a call here at Empowering Health. The phone number here, 812-290-2128. We hope you have a lovely day.